Okay, in this question, we want to solve quadratic equations and we want to use two methods. The first method is using the formula and the second one is by completing the square. Let's start with question number 4. In here, we have 4x squared plus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. Using the formula, we know that our x value is equal to negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4 times ac divided by 2 times a. Now we just have to substitute the a, b, and c values in it here. So let's define these values. On our expression in here, our a value is 4. Our b value is the coefficient of x, which is 3. And our c value is negative 2. So if I just substitute the values in here, it would be equal to 2 times 4 negative b, which is negative 3 plus minus the square root of b squared, which is 9 minus 4 times negative 2 in here. So at the bottom we have 8. At the top we have negative 3 plus minus square root of 41. Now let's use the other method, which was by completing the square. In order to do so, we want to have a perfect square trinomial on the left hand side. So we can take a square root of both sides in order to solve the equation. But to get that perfect square trinomial on the left hand side, we have to follow several steps. So let's rewrite the equation here. 4x squared plus 3x minus 2 is equal to 0. The first step that we want to have is we want to move the constant, which is negative 2 in here, to the right hand side. So we would have 4x squared plus 3x is equal to 2. Now on the second step, what we want to do is we want to have a coefficient of 1 for x squared. So currently the coefficient of x squared is equal to 4 and we want to make it 1. In order to do so, we have to divide each of the terms in this equation by 4. So we would have x squared plus 3 over 4x is equal to 1 over 2. Now on the third step, we want to divide the coefficient of x by 2, then square it and add it to both sides. So the coefficient of x is 3 over 4 currently. We want to divide it by 2, so it would be equal to 3 over 8. Then we want to square it, which would become 3/8 squared. And we want to add this value to both sides of the equation. So basically, we want to add 3 over 8 squared to both sides of the equation in here. So we would have x squared plus 3 over 4x plus 3 over 8 squared is equal to 1 over 2 plus 3 over 8 squared. Now on the left hand side, you see we have a perfect square trinomial, which is equal to x plus 3 over 8 squared. And on the right hand side, we have 1 over 2 plus 9 over 64. So in order to simplify the right hand side, as you guys know, we have different denominators. And here we have two fractions with two different denominators, so we have to make the denominators same. So I'm just going to write the first fraction as 32 over 64 plus 9 over 64. Then if you add them up, it would be equal to 41 over 64. And we had x plus 3 over 8 squared on the left hand side as well. Now what I have to do, I have to take a square root of both sides of the equations in here. So the first one would be x plus 3 over 8. And on the right hand side, we would have plus minus the square root of 41 over 8. So what I did in here, I took a square root Now what I can do, I can just move the 3 over 8 in here to the right hand side. So its value changes to negative. So my x would be equal to minus 3 over 8 plus minus the square root of 41 over 8. And since we have the same denominator in here, this can be written as 8 at the bottom, negative 3 at the top, plus minus the square root of 41. And that would be the same answer that we got from the formula. Okay, now let's move to question number 18 here. We have negative 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 is equal to 0, right? The first thing that I want to do, I want to multiply each of the terms in here by negative 1, so I won't have a negative a value in here. So it would be equal to 2x squared plus 3x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now I want to use the quadratic formula first. We know based off the formula, the x value was equal to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times ac divided by 2a. Now our a value in here is 2, our b value in here is 3, and our c value in here is negative 1. So we would have negative 3 plus minus square root of b squared, which is 9, minus 4 times 2 times negative 1 divided by 2 times 2. So at the bottom we would have 4. At the top we would have negative 3 plus minus the square root of. So 4 times 2 is 8 plus 9 would be equal to 17. Now let's use the other method, which was by completing the square. We're going to follow the same steps that we used on question number 4. So let's rewrite the equation in here. It was 2x squared plus 3x minus 1 is equal to 0. The first step was that we moved the constant, which was negative 1 in here, to the right hand side. So we would have 2x squared plus 3x is equal to 1. And let's move to step 2 in here. Our step 2 was to make the coefficient of x squared be equal to 1. As you see currently, the coefficient is equal to 2, so we have to divide each of the terms in this equation by 2 in order to make that happen. So we would have x squared plus 3 over 2x is equal to 1 over 2. Now let's move to step 3 in here. So on step 3, we have to divide the coefficient of x by 2, then square it, then add it to both sides. So the coefficient of x currently is 3 over 2. If you divide it by 2, it would be equal to 3 over 4. Then if you square it, it would be equal to 3 over 4 squared. Then you have to add this value to both sides of the equation in here. So I want to add 3 over 4 squared to both sides of the equation in here. And we would have x squared plus 3 over 2x plus 3 over 4 squared is equal to 1 over 2 plus 3 over 4 squared. Now if you look at the left hand side, you have a perfect square trinomial, which would be equal to x plus 3 over 4 squared. And on the right hand side, we have 1 over 2 plus 9 over 16, which can be written as 8 over 16 plus 9 over 16, which would be equal to 17 over 16. Now I can take a square root of both sides of the equation, square root. So I would have x plus 3 over 4 is equal to square root of 17 divided by 4, and don't forget the plus and negative sign in here. So that means my x value is equal to negative 3 over 4 plus minus square root of 17 over 4. Now, since I have the same denominator, it can be written as 4 over negative 3 plus minus the square root of 17, which would be the same answer that we got from the formula. So on question number 12, we have x squared plus 16x plus 9 is equal to 0. And we want to solve this using two methods. First, let's start with the formula. Based off the quadratic formula, we have x is equal to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Now, based off the equation in here, our a value would be 1, our b value would be plus 16, and our c value is 9. Now, let's just substitute these values in this formula. So we have negative 16 plus minus the square root of b squared, which is 16 squared, minus 4 times 1 times 9. All divided by 2 times 1. So we have negative 16 on the top plus minus the square root of 256 minus 36 divided by 2 times 1. Again, we have to simplify it more. Negative 16 plus minus a square root of, so 256 minus 36 would be equal to 220. Now 220, I'm going to write it at the top, is equal to 22 times 10, right? And 22 can be written as 2 times 11, and 10 can be written as 5 times 2. So basically we have 4 times 5 times 11. So instead of 222, I'm just going to write 4 times 5 times 11 in here. Now I can split the square root in here into two values. So I would write as negative 16 plus minus the square root of 4 times the square root of 55. I just multiply 5 and 11 in here, divided by 2. And we all know that the square root of 4 is equal to 2. So I can just write 2 instead of the square root of 4 in here. Now, if you see in here, all the numbers on the top can be divided by 2 at the bottom. So I can write this as negative 8 plus minus the square root of 55. And that would be our final solution. Now, let's say that we wanted to solve this using the other method, which was by completing the square. So we have x squared plus 16x plus 9 is equal to 0, right? And we want to solve it by completing the square. The first step was that we move the constant to the right hand side. So this plus 9 should be moved to the right hand side. And it would be equal to x squared plus 16x is equal to negative 9 now. For the second step, we had to make the coefficient of x squared be equal to 1. But in here is already equal to 1, so we don't have to actually do anything on this step. Now let's say that we want to move to the third step. The third step was that we actually added a constant to both sides of the equation in here. And that constant was, we actually had to divide the coefficient of x by 2, then square it, then add it to both sides. So the coefficient of x in here is equal to 16. If you divide it by 2, it would be equal to 8. Then if you square it, it would be equal to 8 squared. So I have to add this to both sides of the equation in here, plus 8 squared. So if I write this as x squared plus 16x plus 8 squared is equal to 8 squared minus 9. And as you see in here, the left hand side is a perfect square trinomial, and it can be written as x plus 8 squared. And the right hand side is 64 minus 9, which would be equal to 55. Now if I just take a square root of both sides of the equation in here, that would leave me with x plus 8 is equal to square root of 55, and don't forget the plus and negative sign in here. So that means my x is equal to negative 8 plus minus the square root of 55, and that would be the same solution as the previous one. Okay, on this question we want to prove that the roots of the quadratic equation in here are as follows. So we're going to use the quadratic formula to prove that. Looking at the equation, we have x squared minus 2x plus alpha is equal to 0. Now we're going to use the quadratic formula in order to solve this equation. Based off the quadratic formula, we had x is equal to minus b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times ac divided by 2 times a. Now we're going to define our a, b, and c values in here. Our a value in here is the coefficient of x squared, which is 1. B value is the coefficient of x, which is negative 2. And our c value is the constant, which is alpha. So we're going to just substitute the values into the formula. So we have negative 2, which would be equal to 2 plus minus square root of b squared, which is 4, minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is alpha. So it's going to be 4 times alpha divided by 2 times 1, which is going to be 2. Now, looking at the expression under the square root, we can factor 4 out of it. So we can write this as 2 plus minus square root of 4 times 1 minus alpha divided by 2. Now what we can do, we can rewrite this as 2 plus minus square root of 4 times square root of 1 minus alpha based off the production rule divided by 2. And we already know that the square root of 4 is equal to 2. So this can be written as 2 plus minus 2 times square root of 1 minus alpha divided by 2. Now what we have to do, we're going to just divide each of the terms on the denominator by 2. So it's going to be 1 plus minus 1 minus alpha. That means our first root is 1 plus the square root of 1 minus alpha, and the second one is 1 minus the square root of 1 minus alpha, which are given on the question. Okay, on this question, we want to show that the roots of the following quadratic equation are as follows. In order to do so, we're going to use the quadratic formula. So based off the equation, we have x squared minus 2 alpha x plus beta is equal to 0. Now based off the formula, we know that our x values are equal to minus b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times ac divided by 2a. Now we're going to define what are a, b, and c in here. And our a value is the coefficient of x squared, which is equal to 1. B value is the coefficient of x, which is equal to negative 2 alpha. And our c value in here is beta. So we're going to substitute these values into this formula. So we have negative b, which is 2 alpha, plus minus square root of b squared, which is 4 alpha squared, minus 4 times ac. Our a value is equal to 1, our c value is equal to beta, so it's going to be 4 times beta, divided by 2 times a, which is going to be 2. Now looking at the expression under the square root, we can see we can factor 4 out of it. So this can be written as 2 alpha plus minus square root of 4 alpha squared minus beta divided by 2. Now I can rewrite this as 2 alpha plus minus square root of 4 times square root of alpha squared minus beta based off the production rule divided by 2. Now we know that the square root of 4 is equal to 2, so this can be written as 2 alpha plus minus 2 times alpha squared minus beta divided by 2. Now we're just going to divide each of the terms on the top on the denominator by 2. So it's going to be alpha plus minus the square root of alpha squared minus beta. And that would be our two solutions. So the first solution is going to be with the plus sign, and the second one is going to be with the negative sign.